start this program for an ABC 11 Eyewitness News AccuWeather alert.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Holman along with Steve Stewart and Don Schwenneker. And we talked about Sampson County in the path of that storm in Bladen County. And there is a tornado warning issued now for southern Sampson County. Let's go back to First Alert Doppler XP and sort of a short break there. But it's a little bit of a dangerous situation with this thunderstorm. You see, it looks almost like that classic hook echo that's developing there to the south and east of Elizabethtown. We'll put on the National Weather Service Doppler radar, too, and you get a view of it. There's a thunderstorm. This storm producing an apparent tornado 15 miles southwest of Garland or 6 miles east of Elizabethtown in Bladen County, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So quarter-sized hail, damaging winds, and a possible tornado with this storm across southern Sampson County. This tornado warning in effect until 2:45 this afternoon. And these are the areas impacted as we pull back the view. This storm makes its way to the northeast into southern Sampson County. So Garland, Harrells, those communities, again, a fairly rural area of Sampson County. But still, there are some folks there obviously want to keep you safe, and you need to take cover. This storm has a pretty good signature. If we could go over to Weather 2, we can show you another view of the storm Steve Stewart's put up. And this gives us, if you look there, Steve, let's move that over a little bit to the right, and it'll get more on. There we go. Look on that. It gives us some information about the storm from the radar. And there's a good chance of a quarter of an inch in diameter hail. And you see that BTI. That's our tornado index. It just gives us an idea on a scale of 1 to 10 of the potential tornado on the ground. And a 5.2 is a pretty significant number.
It is a pretty significant number. I mean, back when we had on April 16th, some of those numbers were incredibly high. You saw
eights,
sevens and eights.
Eights and a half, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that this is not a strong tornado on the ground. It lower the number. It's just a likelihood that we are seeing one. And with a classic hook echo like this, and when we put on the velocities, again, which is where we determine the direction of the wind away and towards from the radar, that is a classic gate-to-gate signature, Chris.
It absolutely is. And you see there, we talk about this with the velocity. And if we go back over to Weather 3, there's another view of it just southeast of Elizabethtown where you see that red and the green. When those get close together, and if you were with us on April 16th, you saw that a lot. That's a good indication of at least rotation aloft, perhaps a funnel cloud. Doesn't mean there's a tornado on the ground, but certainly there is rotation and something to take seriously. And so you need to take cover. Again, southern Sampson County from Harrells, Garland, and areas south. You want to take cover. This storm is still in Bladen County, making its way to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. We'll put on some of the roads that we do see here. If you're watching us in Bladen County, this is State Highway 53, and this is Highway 87, and it's in this area that the tornado possibly may be on the ground. And at 35 miles per hour to put it into southern Sampson County in the next 15-20 minutes or so.
National Weather Service Doppler radar indicating this tornado 15 miles southwest of Garland, 6 miles west, actually 6 miles east of Elizabethtown. It's moving northeast 35 miles an hour, and also some quarter-size hail and winds in excess of 60 miles an hour likely with this storm. That's another problem with this storm, not just the potential for a tornado, potential for some very high winds.
Right. If nothing else, some very heavy rainfall. You see a little bit of a hook echo there in this, and that's just a sign that there may be in this area where there may be rotation, possibly a tornado as the storm moves off to the northeast. So it would probably, if it were to follow the path straight to the northeast, would take it between Garland and Harrells. But if you're in any of those communities, you don't want to take a chance. You want to just go ahead, take cover. Anywhere in that hatched area you see, the boxed-in area, or at least the polygon there over southern Sampson County, that's where there could be a tornado on the ground. This system is, or could be approaching you, and that's the area that's under the gun. So you want to go ahead, take cover. This is a wide view. That's the only warnings. If you're watching us, as Don and Steve have been mentioning through the early afternoon hours when this first warning came out just about an hour, 45 minutes ago for Sampson and parts of Cumberland County, it does look very ominous. Eastern Lake, southern Nash, western Nash, southern Franklin into Johnston County. No warnings with these storms, though, but they do have very heavy rainfall and a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning, and a lot of folks very nervous, and understandably so after April 16th, but no threat of any tornadoes, even severe thunderstorm warnings with this. Still, a severe thunderstorm is classified as winds in excess of 58 miles per hour or hail an inch in diameter or greater. It doesn't have anything to do with lightning, and every thunderstorm does have lightning, and there is quite a bit of cloud-to-ground lightning stretched out now from East Raleigh around 540 and 64 there, all the way over to about Nashville. So you want to stay indoors. This will be passing through quickly, and the threat of severe weather is going to be ending as this cold front, which you see here to the west of us, makes its way east during the afternoon.
And what we'll do is we'll actually move ahead on the radar at this hour, and we'll show you what's going on. Live look right now. If we can go back to Weather 1 into Fayetteville, you can see this is lots of low cloud decks. These clouds have been racing across this picture throughout the day. Now, if you're in Sampson County, here's what you need to do if you're in the path of this tornado. Avoid the windows, get to the lowest room, lowest floor, and a central small room. If you have a basement, great, but a lot of folks don't have a basement. So go to the middle of your house. And when we say that, we're talking about a bathroom, a closet, stairway, underneath the stairway if you can. You can see, let's get back to this radar, Steve. What do you got showing up there right now? That's an intense signature.
It's just getting more and more intense here. And we went ahead and checked it again, and we got some new data in. This is the latest velocities. This is not weakening at all, Chris. It's a pretty good signature as we lapse it. Of course, that lapse is a little bit too long. Let me advance it a little bit. You can see how that's been holding together right across State Highway 87. And now that's the newest signature. Look how far quickly it's moving. What did we say, 35 miles an hour?
Yeah, it may be
looks like it's moving possibly faster.
Guys, that just increased the speed. It's up to 45 miles an hour.
See, yeah, good call there, Steve. Because earlier, the storms you guys were tracking before I got in were moving at about 50.
50 to 60, yeah.
Right, 50 to 60, exactly. So this will be making its way into southern Sampson County in the next little bit. Again, a rural area, but Garland, Harrells, other communities there, you want to take cover because there could easily be a tornado on the ground. No reports of any damage from this as it makes its way to the northeast so far, but it's a fairly new storm. It just formed in the last little bit. And Steve's got up there, you see on the screen, a lot of the information about the storm, the hail, the size could be 3/4 of an inch in diameter where you see the 0.75. The storm, that 37,300 is how high the top of the storm could be into the atmosphere. So we can get a lot of information. One of the things we really look at is that BTI. It's our tornado index, and the radar actually takes all of the data it can gather about the storm and comes up with a number it thinks would be a good probability of the storm on a scale of 1 to 10. When you get to a 4.8, that's not small. It's not the biggest we saw, say, on April 16th, but still something that it warrants a lot of attention and concern.
Last image was a 5.2, 4.8, so it's holding its strength. It's the main story, I think, that we're getting out of this.
Right. You know, one of the things we look at with that is not necessarily the number, but whether it's going up or down. It's down a little bit, but not a lot. When they go up pretty quickly, then we really get concerned. But that area of Bladen County, it's almost not too far. Probably it looks like maybe 10, 12 miles from the Bladen-Sampson County line. It'll be making its way into southern Sampson. So if we go back over to Weather 3, you get a better view, that is, of the storm south of Clinton. If you're in Clinton, no worries. It's just south of there by a few miles that this storm here in Bladen County will be advancing to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour, as Don mentioned. It's picked up a little bit of speed, so it is moving now. There's the latest picture. It is now crossing the border, at least the storm, some of the heavy rain out in advance of it. And one of the things, you know, we talk about when we have these potential tornadoes is many times the tornado is bringing up the rear of the storm. So you get some heavy rain, you get gusty winds, you may get large hail, and then the tornado is sort of like the caboose of the storm system. And many times our tornadoes are wrapped in rain, and the only indication you have that they're on the way is perhaps the sound. You can't really see it. A lot of trees, a lot of hills, and the rain make it much more difficult to see.
You're absolutely right there, Chris. And, you know, if you live north of there and you're thinking, oh my, is all these storms severe? They're not, as Chris was saying earlier. But there is some pretty nasty storms going on right now on parts of eastern Wake County, all the way over towards Rocky Mount and farther south. But the thing is, we're not seeing any rotation in those storms. That's the good news. So for the folks farther to the north, we're not seeing it. For the folks down here where the tornado warning is in effect, still a very impressive signature that we are having a tornado on the ground, potentially on the ground. The radar says so. I don't think we've had any reports yet of anyone seeing this particular one on the ground, have we?
No, we have, but I'll tell you this. We were talking about this earlier, Steve and I off camera, with all of this rain continuing to move over areas that have already seen rain showers. National Weather Service in Raleigh now issuing an urban and small stream flood advisory for Harnett County, Johnston County, and Wake County. So if we zoom out just a bit, you can see all of those areas in eastern Wake County, Harnett County, and Johnston County have seen so much rainfall. Trained weather spotters reporting thunderstorms dropping an estimated of 1 to 2 inches of rain falling in portions of Wake, Johnston, and Harnett counties. Runoff from this heavy rainfall is going to cause some minor flooding, especially along some small streams, low-lying areas. Flooding in areas may include cities like Cary, Lillington, Raleigh, Smithfield, Benson, Clayton, Dunn, Garland, Fuquay, Garner, RDU International Airports even had some heavier rain showers. And what we're doing right here, we switch modes on the radar. This actually shows how much rain has fallen just over the past few hours. And look at just north of Greenville, up to 3 inches of rainfall. Is this the 3-hour total or 1 hour?
Storm total.
Storm total.
Yeah,
so this is since this morning, because some of those areas had showers work through earlier today. So since midnight, we've had in some places up to 2 inches of rainfall. Again, National Weather Service in Raleigh issuing an urban and small stream flood advisory for Harnett County, Johnston County, and Wake County. That runs until 4 o'clock this afternoon.
All right, Don, thanks. And if we can go back over to Weather 3, this is just a storm track. This signature of the tornado is still looking very impressive, where you see these greens and reds butt up right against each other. That is a sign that there is a potential tornado on the ground. Haven't got any reports of it, but it is a fairly rural area there in Bladen County. We'll see. Hopefully it's not. But these are some of the areas that could be impacted. Some of the communities: Murphytown, Clear Run, Waycross, Bryce's Crossroads, Concord in the next half hour as the storm moves off to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. But it certainly is showing a pretty good sustained signature there. You see as it moves it develops just to the south of Elizabethtown and then takes off pretty quickly to the northeast and is now about to cross over. It's already raining. Part of the storm is already into southern Sampson County, as you can see from the, we'll switch the modes there. You see the storm there making its way already with heavy rain just to the south and west of Harrells and south of Garland, but the potential tornado is just about to cross over the line. So if you're anywhere in southern Sampson County, and of course if you're watching us from Bladen County too, you want to take cover, especially that part of Bladen County that adjoins southern Sampson County. This activity, again, moving to the north, storm at about potential tornado at about 45 miles per hour.
And we're just getting an update from the National Weather Service. Doppler radar indicating that tornado still located 10 miles now south of Garland, 10 miles east of Elizabethtown. It is tracking northeast at approximately 35 miles per hour. Again, that coming to us from the National Weather Service in Raleigh.
All right, Don, thanks. And there's a look at the storm again. If you're in Clinton, don't need to worry about that. It's the southern part of Sampson County, fairly rural area, and then the storm making its way into Duplin County potentially. So if you're in Duplin County and watching us, that's technically not in our viewing area, but we do have viewers that watch us on cable or perhaps over the air. You want to be alert that there could be a warning of some type issued if this holds together. And it has a pretty good signature there. There it is, moving right across the Bladen and Sampson County line right now, moving northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So if there is a tornado on the ground, it is just now beginning to make its way across the border there into there it is. This was just the very most recent picture, just about there, about to cross over into western Sampson County. It's doing so right now.
Absolutely. And there's another strong cell right behind that, Chris, that not really showing much in the way of rotation, but it is another, well, actually it is. Look at that. Look at this.
Wow, yeah.
Another signature that potentially right behind the one we've been tracking, which again is going to be in Bladen County. So I want to say it was potential for 2 storms here, but we are seeing on the Doppler here maybe some more rotation behind this particular cell. So if you got past this one, might not quite be over just yet.
Right, and these are some of the highways here if you are in southern Sampson County. Highway 41, 411, around Harrells and Garland and anywhere in between there. This is the storm here, and this is right here is the Bladen and Sampson County line. The tornado, if there is one, and it's a pretty strong signature. The storm is making its way into Sampson County right now. And again, as you mentioned, Steve, if you go back over to weather 2, right on the heels of that, another sign of rotation. Now, I don't think they've issued another warning for Bladen County, which is good news, but certainly want to keep an eye on that just in case as this the next storm moves towards the east. Again, this is all part of the system. We're, believe it or not, fortunate in that if we go back over to weather 3 and get a wider view, we're fortunate in that we haven't had more than we've had today in terms of severe weather, because this cold front you see out to the west, Greensboro to Charlotte, that's the monster front that is responsible for the devastation across the deep south and even into Virginia and parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. Where last count, it's amazing, it keeps going up, the death toll from this storm. Every time you click on a website, USA Today or whatever, or our website, you know, abc11.com, and get the latest number of people that were killed, it goes up. And then right before I came in, it was 250.
Oh my God, I didn't know it was that.
Yeah, it's
and
250.
They were warned. They knew this was coming. We talked about this. Even all the National Weather Service, they had hours and hours of prep. They thought, oh my, we've never seen severe parameters like this before. So they were ready for this.
Yeah, it is amazing that you know, the warnings from Weather Service offices like Birmingham, Huntsville, all across Atlanta, all had timely warnings. But some of these tornadoes, I think they're going to find. I haven't heard yet if there were any EF5s, but at least 4s for sure. The one in Tuscaloosa was just a mile wide, and some of those storms are just not survivable, which is the tragedy of it all. Even when people do exactly the right thing, when you get those rare types of tornadoes, EF4s, EF5s, they only account for, I think it's 2 or 3% of all tornadoes every year, but they account for somewhere like 75% of all of the fatalities.
That's right.
And those were the storms that hit portions of Alabama yesterday. We are tracking a storm, not that a tornado, not that intense, but certainly we're seeing some rotation in 2 different spots now as we take a look at this storm system continuing to push through Sampson County, southeastern Sampson County. We were on earlier for an earlier tornado that was indicated on the ground. Now we're seeing radar indicated tornadoes. We're seeing rotation inside these storms. That's what the green areas and red areas are there, and we're continuing to track that line of showers and thunderstorms. The National Weather Service continuing that tornado warning until 2:45. Doppler radar indicating a tornado located at that time about 10 miles south of Garland, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour.
You know, and I mentioned that Bladen wasn't under a warning for that, but they're already under a warning, so perhaps that's why. Because there you see the 2 counties where Elizabethtown, that's Bladen County, and then Harrells and Garland, that's Sampson. And the 2 reds you see there are where we're looking at rotation, and the tornado warning was already in effect. And maybe the National Weather Service in Wilmington, which issues the warnings for that county, just left it up because there is that potential tornado. But we haven't gotten any word on that, just south of Elizabethtown. But if you are south of Elizabethtown or near there,
actually, you know what? I'm monitoring one of the many things we can monitor here in the Weather Center. We are just getting a report out of Wilmington. This is from Ham Radio reporting a funnel cloud spotted moving from Owen Hill Road toward Elizabethtown. This is as of 2:23. Again, these are just spotter reports. But a lot of those ham radio operators are certified National Weather Service spotters, and they are reporting a funnel cloud, not a confirmed touchdown yet. It was being reported by the local radio, the fire department there, but again, a funnel cloud was spotted moving from Owen Hill Road toward Elizabethtown. That's coming to us from Wilmington National Weather Service and their ham radio operators down there.
All right, Don, thanks. And as you see here on the radar, this is the first tornado, if you will, the one we've at least been tracking for the last few minutes, that has pushed over into Sampson County, at least potential tornado, maybe a funnel. Hopefully that's all it is. But where you see that red and green together, again, that's where we think there is rotation. And you can see Highway 41, fairly rural area here of southern Sampson County. This is Highway 411 that goes into Harrells and, of course, 41 as well. And that's the area of southwestern Sampson County, and making its way off to the northeast really quickly. So some of the areas impacted, about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Some of the areas that will be impacted by this. Some of the communities in the next few minutes: Clear Run, Waycross, Bryce's Crossroads, Concord, Rose Hill, Magnolia, Carroll, and some of those will be out of Sampson and into Duplin County. And it does look like a tornado warning was just issued. No, I'm wrong. I'm sorry about that. I thought that it looked like there was a warning for those areas of Duplin County. But if you are watching from Duplin County, you want to just stay really alert. The storm moving very quickly and no signs of it weakening just yet. So it's not impossible that a warning is issued for parts of Duplin County. It also looks like southeastern Robeson County, that's a severe thunderstorm warning for a storm coming out of South Carolina there. I'm sure, Don, you can probably get the particulars on that, but this is, you see there, that storm there that's in south of Dillon, South Carolina, making its way to the northeast. So a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Robeson. Yeah,
that was just issued out of the National Weather Service in Wilmington. That's severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 3:15 for Robeson County. National Weather Service Doppler radar indicating a cluster of severe thunderstorms, and it is capable of producing some quarter-size hail. The big thing with that line, damaging winds could go in excess of 60 miles an hour, and these storms located in a line from near Mullins on down to Nichols to Fair Bluff, they're all moving to the northeast. 55 miles an hour that storm is moving. And whenever you see a storm just racing like that, it doesn't take much wind inside of it to cause problems. Again, that is a National Weather Service issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for Robinson County, and that is until 3:15 this afternoon.
And you know, as you and Steve have been mentioning too, if you're in northern Sampson County, it looks pretty ominous. There you see that shear marker showing up now for that area right along the Sampson and Bladen County line. But there are quite a bit of thunderstorms, a line of them actually, stretching from northern Sampson County all the way into eastern Wake and eastern Nash, or Franklin and western Nash County. That's making its way to the north and east. No warnings with that, no threat of severe weather. It's not impossible a severe thunderstorm warning could potentially be issued. We're not seeing, though, any of the rotation. When we put on the velocity here, you don't see any of these colors coming together. You see the reds, which indicates the air going in one direction, the greens in another, but nothing close together. So no signs of rotation like you do down when you zoom in to these areas to the south of southern Sampson County, the two areas south of Elizabethtown, and then moving into Sampson County. This one's still a really good signature of rotation there. If we take off that one shear marker right in there, that's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive.
Some of these storms can be deceiving too, guys. We are getting some reports from other counties, people calling the National Weather Service saying, I see a funnel cloud. Not necessarily. You can see in some of the rain we're seeing today, you get that cool air dropping down into the warm air. You'll get low-hanging clouds, or what we call scud. They kind of look like funnel clouds. That is why we use radar to kind of back it up. This is the only one that's indicated. Just getting a report out of Wilmington again, National Weather Service. Emergency manager there reporting a funnel cloud at 2:20. That is about 9 minutes ago. That funnel cloud was spotted near Center Road, moving toward Suggs Taylor Road and Owen Hill Road in the Bladen County area near Elizabethtown. It's actually 3 miles southwest of Elizabethtown there. Yeah,
we'll put some of those roads on. That's what Don's talking about right there, just to the east of Elizabethtown. Now that's Highway 701. This is Sugarloaf Road here. This here is, let me get the spot right there. It's not showing up on the radar, but on the site there. But these are some of the areas, Highway 701 we mentioned, and also here, some of these regions, these smaller roads. But if you're anywhere, especially east of Elizabethtown, that area, that's a funnel cloud at least, so the tornado warning still in effect for those areas of Bladen County. That's Highway 53. That storm moving off to the northeast. In our viewing area as well, in southern Sampson County, that's the, we'll zoom back in, that's still showing a pretty long time, a really well-defined circulation there. Still haven't got any confirmation of this on the ground. No spotter reports from southern Sampson County that this tornado on the ground. No reports of any damage either, but it's moving very close to Harrells right now. It looks like the storm will actually pass just a little bit west of there, but if you're in Harrells, you want to go ahead and stay in a safe place. Get to your safe room, go to the lowest floor, interior room. That's usually a hall closet or a bathroom somewhere in the middle of the house. The idea is to get as many walls between you and the storm as you can, and that protects you because it gives you more protection with more buildings surrounding you, if you will. So you want to go ahead and do that and stay in a safe place until the storm passes. This potential tornado, again, on the ground between Highway 41 and 411, moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So on that path, it'll pass through southern Sampson County and potentially into Duplin County.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like you said the community of Harrells and also Delway there. It's a little small town as well that could be seeing this rotation come very close. And the fact that we've been seeing this hold together for quite a long time, it doesn't mean, as Chris was saying, this has been on the ground the whole time, but the potential is there for this to cause some damage. But we have zero reports so far, right, guys, of getting any damage or anyone saying this one is on the ground. This is all Doppler indicated, but we have to assume it is. And treat it as though it's just as serious as if we are seeing one on the ground. If you live in these communities, as Chris said, get to shelter immediately.
And guys, also through Wake and Johnson, just a reminder, there is that aerial flood advisory now for localized flooding in those 3 counties. We talk a lot about tornadoes, but the #2 weather killer in the United States is actually flooding. And the National Weather Service several years ago came up with a saying, if you come across a flooded area, turn around, don't drown. It only takes about 1 foot of water to 2 feet of water to float a tire and float your car off. So if you do see a flooded area, do not go into it. Stay out of it. Again, that is a flood advisory for Wake County, Johnston County, and Harnett County. A lot of rain falling over those counties over the past several hours. In some places, over 2 inches of rainfall indicated from both spotters and also from folks at the National National Weather Service. And look, even some heavy rates coming in now. What Chris is showing us is this is the rainfall rate with some of these storms. 2 inches an hour showing up. Now, some of that may be a little bit of hail embedded in those thunderstorms. Sometimes that'll throw it off just a bit. But for the most part, we have been in such a tropical air mass for the past couple of days. These storms have a ton of rain and moisture to work with. So when they start raining, they just keep on raining.
Right. And you mentioned that, Don, a foot, 2 feet tops, you can float a car. At 6 inches of moving water can knock you off your feet, which people, you just don't realize the force of water. So as Don said, just stay away from any flooded roadways, turn around. Really, these storms will actually be moving. The good news is that the individual storms are moving northeast at about 50. The line is advancing eastward at about, it looks like 20, 30 miles per hour. So it's starting to clear up a bit, or at least stop raining in Wake County, and that'll be pressing eastward. So over the next couple of hours, things will be improving everywhere as this cold front moves through and we start to get some improving conditions.
Latest update from the National Weather Service now. We're keeping that tornado warning in effect for southeastern Sampson County until 2:45. National Weather Service Doppler radar indicating a possible tornado located 10 miles south of Garland, 10 miles east of Elizabethtown. At the time of this report, tracking northeast at 35 miles an hour. You could also see quarter-sized hail and winds in excess of 60 miles an hour with this storm system. We do not have any reports from spotters of a tornado on the ground. However, I have seen 2 different reports come across the National Weather Service sites we monitor of funnel cloud in that area. So that doesn't mean it's there isn't a tornado and you can all clear. I mean, when we're seeing this red and this green show up here, this gate-to-gate shear, we like to call it, where we're seeing the inbound and outbound wind actually rotate, seeing the raindrops in the storm actually rotate, that tells us that a tornado, or at least the potential for a tornado, is spinning up in that area. And Chris is showing that along Black River Lane and Clear Run School Road down near in portions of Sampson County.
Right, and the signature has been persistent for 20, 30 minutes. Now it shows just how quickly this storm system is moving. It now is moved, the latest picture, just to the north of Highway 411. So let's zoom back in and you'll be able to see that what rotation there is across the area. There it is, still in southern Sampson County, but now it's just north of Harrells, making its way towards the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. And it looks like it'll pass just north of Harrells. This is Highway 421, probably will cross 421. The one thing about it being in a rural area is good news, that there are obviously fewer people, but we don't have as many people to actually observe what's going on either, Steve.
Yeah, and we've been monitoring what we call the BTI. If we go over to Weather 2 really quick, this has consistently been around that 5 for the last 45 minutes or so, anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5, which means the potential is there for this to have that tornado. And then the other signature farther south that we actually saw also about the same, about 5. So the potential is there for 2 tornadoes as this moves off to the north. And again, that warning, Chris, we think it was extended for this cell as well, not just the one near Harrells area.
Right. So that's in Bladen County and southern Sampson. And this is what you're looking at there with Steve, as that storm is just to the northwest of Harrells, moving northeast. It's about, in the next few minutes, it's going to cross over into Duplin County. So if you're in Duplin County, a tornado warning could be issued for that area. And you know, on our system, unless it includes southern Sampson, it actually won't show up. So we want to kind of keep an eye on our chat, because for Bladen and Duplin counties, unless they're sort of attached to each other, there may be a warning there that we won't see pop up exactly on our radar.
If you're just joining us, it is about 25 minutes now until 3 o'clock. You're watching live coverage on ABC 11 Eyewitness News. Tornado warnings issued through Sampson County and Nash County. Chief Meteorologist Chris Homan, Steve Stewart, and myself, Don Schwenneker, monitoring the situation as this line of showers continues to move through. If you're on Wake County or anywhere around the Triangle, we do not have severe weather at this time other than some flooding. There is flooding being reported. Again, though, you're watching live coverage with Chief Meteorologist Chris Homan.
All right, thanks, Don. And if we go over to Weather 3, we got some of these storm reports from just a little while ago. This one was from 120 with a possible tornado in parts of Bladen County. And then 220, funnel cloud was spotted near Center Road, moving to Suggs-Taylor Road and Owen Hill Road. That was at 220. That's for the storm that's actually now to the northeast of Elizabethtown. We've got no reports for this particular storm, which we talked about before we signed off very briefly, just about, what, 35 minutes ago or so, that this storm would be potentially moving into Sampson County. and it has shown a persistent signature of rotation there just northwest of Harrah's, and it's probably now, this picture here is just a few minutes old. It's probably now getting very, very close to Bladen County, or Duplin County, excuse me. But so far we have no reports of anybody seeing a funnel, or any reports of any damage either, which is good news.
And we are getting a report from the National Weather Service, an updated report as of 2:33. Their Doppler still indicating that tornado located near Harrah's, 15 miles west of Wallace, and the speed on the system moving northeast right now at about 45 miles per hour.
Right, and there it is on the radar screen. Now, as Don mentioned, if you are joining us, this is a really localized situation. It's not like anything like back in April 16th when we had that widespread outbreak of tornadoes, a record number of tornadoes for central and eastern North Carolina. But we do have that tornado warning for parts of Bladen County and especially now into Sampson County too. And but you are joining us around Wake County, even Cumberland County. The threat is very low. We have this cold front out to the west. Until it passes, it's not impossible that more showers or storms could form along that front, but most of it is out well in advance of it now. Right along Interstate 95, you see over Nash County, western Wilson County getting very close to it, Johnston County, and even into northern Sampson County. It's very ominous looking, very heavy rain, very dark clouds, cloud-to-ground lightning, thunder, obviously, with the lightning, but no warnings with any of that, not even severe thunderstorm warnings, which is great news. You want to go ahead and stay indoors until it passes, but the only area that's under any type of warning is way down to the south in our viewing area, south of Clinton, from near Elizabethtown into southern Sampson County. That tornado warning in effect for the next 5 or 6 minutes. And I wouldn't be surprised then if that tornado warning is extended over into Duplin County, as we're still seeing a really good signature from this. When you see these, now it does look, there's the very latest picture. It's interesting, Steve, we pull back. Doesn't look as impressive there for the first potential tornado north of Harrah's, but the one southwest of there does. So it's not impossible that the warning that expires at 2:45 for southern Sampson will get reissued. And there's the warning. If we go over to Weather 2, there is now that tornado warning for Duplin County. And we'll get the particulars on that coming up. But if you're in Duplin County and you're watching, you want to take cover. That storm that's in Sampson is making its way to the northeast. And if you are in southern Sampson County, it's not impossible that the tornado warning is extended there, because on the heels of the one that just went by is the storm that is now about to jump over the border. So again, it's something that we'll keep an eye on. But the one storm, the first one, is about to move out of Sampson into Duplin, and there is a tornado warning now in effect for Duplin County. This is the, it looks a little less impressive though in terms of that velocity data. If we go over, there you see it looping along, and if you can, Steve, take that little shear marker, what we call it, the little circle off, and there you see, and that last picture, it's not, you don't see nearly the concentration of reds, which may indicate it's weakening a bit, but still the tornado warning for Duplin County. And
just moments ago, the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, issuing now a tornado watch. They have issued a new tornado watch. In our viewing area, it only includes, I'm just getting it as it's coming off the printer, only includes Northampton County, also Sampson County. Those are the only two, and Wayne County. Sampson, Wayne, and Northampton County, the only counties in our area under that tornado watch. That tornado watch now in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. That again being issued by the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. So we're keeping an eye on that as well. You're watching live coverage of a tornado warning for Bladen County that is just about set to expire in 4 minutes or so, and also a tornado warning for Sampson County.
And as we mentioned, there is now one for Duplin County. And Don, if you can get the particulars on the timing for that, we don't have access to it over here. Sure. But the one for southern Sampson is set to expire in 4 minutes. But as Steve mentioned, there's, and we've showed you, there is at least some rotation showing up on that second cell that's in parts of Bladen County, making its way to the northeast.
Yeah, and this one we watched quite a while ago, and it too almost taken the exact same path. We just got some new information in on it, and we can take a peek here at what it's suggesting for us. The BTI on this one at a 5, which goes in line with the last storm system, which means the likelihood is fairly decent that we do have a tornado, whether it's on the ground or not, whether it's in the process of getting a funnel organized down to the surface. We're not sure at this point, but a good bet there's going to be some hail in this thing. The top of the clouds roughly around 32 to to, and we've had reports earlier of 40,000 feet. And, so not only do we have the hail, but we have to concern ourselves with the wind as well.
Steve, I have that information on the Duplin County tornado warning now for Duplin County running until 3:15. Doppler radar indicating that tornado 15 miles west of Teachee, 15 miles west of Wallace, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Some quarter-size hail damaging winds possible with this. They're asking you to take cover now if you live in Duplin County. Again, that tornado warning in effect for Duplin County until 3:15 this afternoon.
Okay, thanks, Don. And those are the only warnings. Duplin, southern Sampson, and still parts of Bladen County, too. But we are keeping an eye on these other thunderstorms that are north of there. So far, no reports of any rotation, any even severe thunderstorms. If we go over to Weather 3, you can see that line of showers and thunderstorms along Interstate 95. Now, it's pressing eastward, so the threat of any real significant weather across, say, central North Carolina, Raleigh, Fayetteville, westward, diminishing rapidly. The cold front, you see it there to the west around Greensboro. This is the front that has caused just unbelievable devastation across much of the South and even the East Coast. So far here in North Carolina, we've been incredibly lucky because there have been, I think it's 8 fatalities in Virginia, 20 or more in Tennessee. Alabama has just been devastated with what I think it's 150, something incredible. And Mississippi, 32 fatalities at last check, and the number just keeps rising. And so far, we have been very, very fortunate in terms of this system is the one that's done that. But the parameters, we talked about this yesterday, for a widespread outbreak of severe weather were not in place for us, which was good news, but we couldn't rule out some isolated tornadoes or some wind damage. There is a strong storm, too, moving across Wayne County. National Weather Service